Welcome to Buying and Beyond, the buying podcast that aims to entertain and inspire. We're Kate and Lyns, and together we have over 30 years' experience in retail, including Accessorise and M&S to name a few high street names.
We've been through the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs of fashion retail buying and beyond, and we really want to share this with you.
This is a safe space for us to share our stories, tips and advice, and we have some friends joining us along the way to give us their thoughts and opinions too.
We hope this podcast will help anyone looking to get into the industry, as well as those already enjoying the wild world of retail buying, as many of these stories will hopefully feel very relatable. So grab your drink of choice, sit back and have a giggle with us. Recording. Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Katie. We've been in the buying industry for over 30 years combined.
Worked for quite a few corporate companies, some small-scale businesses.
We met at our first job, so both straight out of university pretty much. Bit of work experience and a few internships here or there, but ultimately in our first roles as kind of buying admin assistants, and we've been friends ever since.
We have. So we really wanted to start a podcast, mainly because Kate and I have found that throughout our careers, we have just really, really benefited from sort of being a sounding post for each other. There's been obviously some challenging moments as retail is, an up and down world. And we just really benefited from just having some friendly advice, some help, for certain scenarios that we might both have been in before. And, we often find each other just sort of calling each other for hours and, relaying some stories that we might need some help with.
And they could either be highs or lows, couldn't they? Sometimes it can be calling to be like, oh my God, this most amazing thing just happened. Yeah. Or I've just, smashed my sales. I'm on such a high. Or it could be oh my God, I just had the most
terrible day.
Most terrifying trade meeting. Or I forgot all my numbers.
Yeah.
Or, I tripped up walking out of the board meeting. They could be sort of really large things to actually really trivial moments, but it really helps to share.
Absolutely. Or I've got an interview for somewhere really exciting and I just want someone to talk to you about it and help each other sort of navigate around that. There's been so many moments throughout my career where I've really benefited from having a best friend, really. And
someone that knows what you're going through in the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting actually, because the more we've talked and actually the more we've gone up the ladder, the more we've realised that actually there's a lot of talk at the top.
Mm-hmm.
But those people are quite far removed from the product.
Yes.
So, for example, I don't know whether it's changing payment terms, and suddenly you're changing payment terms, and we're like, what? Why? We're the ones doing the work, and actually it's because so and so from warehouse has had a conversation with so and so from Topshop, and they've changed their payment terms, so we are, and it filters down. And actually, we've realised that there needs to be more conversations at kind of people closer to the product talking and not sharing your secrets within retail, because every business has its own identity, but just sharing some best practices.
100%. We've benefited from that from each other, and I think Kate touches on a really, really good point there that we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, Kate? When you get sort of very, very high up in a retail business, sort of CEO level, they go to great dinners with other CEOs, and
they're sharing all sorts of information.
Yeah, and they're benefiting from that as well, which is great. But where is that at our level, or even the levels below us? I think that it's really great to have that support network.
It's an opportunity to kind of to vent and let off steam, but also we want to set up a forum where you can share those funny stories that are all so relatable, because we've all been there, but also offers that help and support, and also kind of tips and advice and sort of ways to structure things. You might be given a new project and you've never done it that way before, and we'll touch on it through the podcast, but moving businesses, for example, and suddenly everything's different. Actually, a lot of it can be the same.
Yeah, all that lingo language.
The lingo language can be so difficult, completely throw you, make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. You do. But come to us for any new projects, any new things you've been set, and we would really like to help you with that.
And have an open forum. Let's all talk about it together and discuss how people can navigate their way through the wild world of retail, really.
Yeah. I have to say, during the time that we've worked in retail buying, we have from day one been sharing all sorts, whether it's crying in the cupboard or it's or it's, I don't know, carrying samples somewhere, or it's, bashing each other with our racks full of samples. But we've always shared information. We've always thought it's been really beneficial. And I think going into kind of 2020, there was Life of a Buyer. Shout out to Life of a Buyer set up, where there was some fantastic memes being shared across Instagram. I mean, there's Life of a Merch, Life of a Designer. All of those accounts are so brilliant, and they bring us all together. But it's about just there's such a need for that, but there's such a need for that and more, particularly in buying, and that's why we want to set this up, buying and beyond.
Exactly.
So we hope that you'll join us on the journey. We're going to start with becoming a buyer in our sort of first season. We'll move on to sort of Life of a Buyer, and then when we get to our season 3, it will be buying and beyond, and loads more to come from that too. So join us next week for episode 1.